Have you ever stared at your blood test results and felt your stomach drop? Because one number kept climbing and no one explained what it really meant. Your doctor sounded calm, maybe even reassuring. But the word creatinine stayed in your head, and somewhere in the back of your mind a terrifying thought surfaced. What if my kidneys are quietly failing right now? Here's the hard truth most people never hear soon enough. Kidney damage doesn't scream. It whispers. It progresses silently for years until one day the damage is no longer reversible. And by the time symptoms show up, options shrink fast. Dialysis stops being a distant possibility and starts feeling uncomfortably real. Dr. Richard Hale, a clinical kidney specialist, has warned for years that the most dangerous stage of kidney decline is the one where people still feel mostly fine, because that's when critical time is lost. Numbers drift upward, GFR slips downward, and people are told to just monitor it without being shown how to intervene effectively. But what if I told you that for many people, rising creatinine isn't a life sentence? That there are specific science-backed actions that can slow, stabilize, and in some cases even improve kidney function if they're done early and done in the right order. This isn't about miracle cures or internet myths. It's about understanding what actually damages your kidneys day after day, often through habits you were told were harmless, and learning how to remove that pressure before permanent scarring sets in. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the fastest evidence-based ways doctors like Dr. Richard Hale use to protect kidney function, methods most patients never hear about until it's too late. Stay with me, because one of these steps is almost never mentioned until late-stage kidney failure, and missing it could cost you the window where real improvement is still possible. If your creatinine is rising, if your GFR is slipping, or if you're scared but don't know where to start, this may be the most important video you watch this year. The first place we need to start is something most people completely underestimate: the acid load your kidneys are forced to deal with every single day. Because long before creatinine shows up high on a lab report, your kidneys are already struggling quietly, just trying to keep the chemical balance of your body stable. I've seen this again and again. People tell me I eat pretty normally, and what they mean is meat at most meals, cheese, processed grains, protein-heavy snacks. All foods we're told are harmless, even healthy. But here's what rarely gets explained. When your body breaks these foods down, they produce acid as a byproduct, and your kidneys are responsible for neutralizing and clearing that acid out of your blood. Think of your kidneys like a high-performance water filter. A little pressure is fine, but when that pressure is constant day after day, the filter starts wearing out. The tiny filtering units inside your kidneys, the nephrons, take the hit first. They scar, they stiffen, and once they're gone, they don't regenerate. That's when GFR drops and creatinine begins to rise, often without a single symptom, warning you it's happening. This is where fruits and vegetables become far more powerful than most people realize. Not because they're trendy, but because they are naturally alkaline forming. They help neutralize acid before it ever reaches your kidneys. In a 2023 clinical trial conducted by Baylor Scott and White health patients with elevated creatinine who consistently increased their intake of fruits and vegetables, showed measurable reductions in creatinine and slower progression of kidney decline over 6 months without new medications. Foods like apples, berries, bell peppers, leafy greens, and cauliflower reduce oxidative stress, calm inflammation in the blood vessels, feeding your kidneys, and most importantly, give your nephrons a break. And many people notice early signs they're on the right track within weeks: less bloating, steadier blood pressure, and improved energy. But here's where many people make a dangerous assumption. They hear eat healthier, add more produce, and think that alone will fix everything. It won't. Because even if you neutralize acid perfectly, your kidneys may still be drowning in something else you consume every day, something that directly creates creatinine itself. And that brings us to the next factor most people never connect to their rising numbers: protein, and how much of it your kidneys can actually handle right now. So even if you've reduced acid load and started giving your kidneys some breathing room, there's another pressure source that many people never question: protein. Because creatinine doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes directly from how your body processes the protein you eat every single day. I've spoken to countless people who were told to eat more protein to stay strong, fight aging, or protect muscle. So they added bigger portions of meat protein, shakes, and high-protein snacks, without realizing what that meant for kidneys that were already under strain. Here's the part most people never hear clearly. When your body uses protein to build and repair muscle, creatinine is produced as a natural waste product. Healthy kidneys clear it easily. But when filtration slows, that waste starts stacking up. Think of it like a factory that's already behind schedule. If you keep increasing production without improving the exit flow, backup is inevitable. That backup shows up in your blood work as rising creatinine. And the more protein you consume, the harder your kidneys have to work just to keep up. Clinical data from nephrology centers across the U.S. consistently show that strategic protein, reduction not elimination, can significantly lower serum creatinine and stabilize GFR. Multiple studies indicate that reducing intake to around 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day leads to measurable improvements within weeks to a few months in people with early to moderate kidney decline. Let's make this real. If you weigh about 150 pounds, that's roughly 48 grams of protein per day. A single large chicken breast can contain over half of that. Add eggs, dairy, or a protein bar, and you've already doubled what your kidneys can comfortably process. And red meat makes things worse by adding phosphorus compounds that further stress filtration units. The solution isn't cutting protein aggressively or guessing. It's choosing smaller portions, cleaner sources like modest amounts of fish or plant-based proteins while avoiding excess animal protein that overwhelms your system. And this matters especially for older adults because cutting protein too hard without guidance can lead to muscle loss and weakness. But here's the critical point. Even when people adjust protein perfectly, creatinine sometimes keeps climbing. Not because they're doing it wrong, but because another silent habit is still damaging the filtration system itself. And that habit isn't about what you're eating, it's about how much hidden pressure salt is putting on your kidneys every single day. Even after people clean up their diet and carefully control protein, there's one habit that keeps quietly damaging kidneys, and almost no one realizes how powerful it is: sodium. Not because salt tastes bad, but because it creates constant pressure inside your kidneys long before pain or symptoms appear. I hear this all the time. I don't even add salt to my food. And that's usually true. The problem is most sodium doesn't come from the salt shaker. It comes hidden inside foods people eat every day without thinking. Canned soups, deli meats, frozen meals, restaurant food, even bread. And by the time you feel swollen or bloated, the damage has already been happening for months. Here's what sodium actually does. It raises blood pressure inside the tiny filtering units of your kidneys, the glomeruli. Think of them like delicate strainers. When pressure stays high day after day, those strainers stretch, scar, and slowly lose their ability to filter waste. As that damage builds, GFR drops and creatinine rises, even if everything else looks under control. This isn't speculation. Systematic reviews from the Cleveland Clinic and other major institutions show that reducing sodium intake to under 2 grams per day can improve blood pressure control and creatinine clearance within just a few weeks. That's less than 1 teaspoon of salt for the entire day, including all hidden sources. The shocking part is how easy it is to exceed that limit without realizing it. 1 can of soup can contain over 800 milligrams. 2 slices of deli meat can add another 500. A single restaurant meal can push you past your entire daily allowance before dinner is even over. And switching to sea salt or Himalayan salt doesn't solve the problem. Your kidneys don't care where the sodium came from. The solution isn't eating bland food forever. It's learning to read labels, watching sodium per serving instead of per package, and using herbs, lemon vinegar, garlic, and onion powder for flavor instead of salt. Many people notice changes quickly: less puffiness, steadier blood pressure, and fewer fluctuations in their lab results. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Even when sodium is finally under control, some people still see creatinine creep upward. And the reason has nothing to do with food at all. Because some of the most damaging toxins your kidneys face aren't coming from your plate. They're coming from your gut. This is where the story shifts in a way most people never expect, because some of the most damaging stress on your kidneys doesn't come from what you eat. It comes from what your gut bacteria produce after you eat. And this connection is quietly ignored until kidney damage is already advanced. I've seen patients do everything right. They cut salt, they reduced protein, they cleaned up their diet, yet their creatinine still wouldn't budge. When we looked deeper, the problem wasn't the kidneys alone, it was the gut. Because your intestines and your kidneys are in constant communication through your bloodstream, whether you realize it or not. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Certain gut bacteria break down food and release uremic toxins as waste. These toxins don't stay in your gut. They pass into your blood and travel straight to your kidneys, where they must be filtered out. When your gut microbiome is out of balance, too many harmful strains, not enough beneficial ones, the amount of these toxins skyrockets. And suddenly your kidneys are overwhelmed by waste they were never designed to handle in such volume. This isn't theory. A 2024 umbrella review of randomized controlled trials found that specific probiotic strains, particularly lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, significantly reduced serum creatinine and improved kidney function markers in people with chronic kidney disease. Many participants saw measurable improvements within weeks to 3 months of consistent daily use. Probiotics work in two powerful ways. First, they crowd out toxin-producing bacteria, reducing the amount of uremic waste entering your bloodstream. Second, they strengthen the gut lining itself, making it harder for toxins to leak through in the first place. Less toxin exposure means less inflammation, less oxidative stress, and less pressure on your kidneys. But this is where people make mistakes. Taking probiotics inconsistently using low-dose formulas or relying on sugar-loaded yogurts often cancels out the benefit. Most commercial yogurts don't contain enough live cultures to matter, and the sugar feeds the very bacteria you're trying to suppress. To be effective, probiotics need at least 10 billion CFUs daily, multiple strains, and consistency. When used correctly, they reduce the burden on your kidneys in a way diet alone never can. But even with a cleaner gut and fewer toxins in your bloodstream, there's still one deeper layer of protection. Most people never address the health of the kidney cells themselves. Because the final factor doesn't work from the outside in, it works from the inside out at the level where kidney damage truly begins. This next piece goes deeper than food, deeper than habits, and deeper than most conversations about kidney health ever reach, because it's about what's happening inside your kidney cells themselves. Long before lab numbers change, damage begins at the cellular level where energy is made and survival decisions are triggered. Every kidney cell contains hundreds of mitochondria, tiny power plants that generate the energy needed to filter blood, regulate electrolytes, and remove waste. When those mitochondria are healthy, your kidneys can keep working even under stress. But when they're damaged by oxidative stress, inflammation, high blood sugar, toxins, or aging, everything starts to slow down. Cells lose energy, filtration weakens, and over time, nephrons die faster than your body can replace them. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. Two people follow the same diet, controls sodium, adjust protein, yet one stabilizes while the other keeps declining. The difference often isn't discipline, it's cellular resilience. And that's where coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10 plays a critical role. CoQ10 is a naturally occurring antioxidant that lives inside your mitochondria. Its job is to protect them from free radical damage and help them produce energy efficiently. Clinical meta-analyses have shown that supplementing with 100 to 200 milligrams of CoQ10 daily can improve creatinine clearance and slow the progression of chronic kidney disease when used consistently over time. Here's why this matters. When mitochondria are protected, kidney cells have more energy to function, repair, and resist stress. That doesn't just slow damage, it can change the trajectory of decline. But not all CoQ10 works the same way. The form matters. Ubiquinol is the active, already converted form your body can use immediately, while ubiquinone must be converted first, a process that becomes less efficient with age and digestive issues. Timing matters too. CoQ10 is fat-soluble, so it absorbs best when taken with a meal containing healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, and more is not better. Doses above 200 milligrams don't show additional benefit and often just waste money. There is one important caution. If you're taking blood-thinning medications, CoQ10 can interfere with their effect, which means this step should always be discussed with your doctor first. But here's the key point. Even the most powerful cellular protection won't help if everything is done at once, inconsistently, or in the wrong order. Because the final step isn't about adding one more supplement, it's about knowing exactly how to put all of this together safely before hidden mistakes undo your progress. Now, this is where everything either comes together or quietly falls apart, Because knowing these strategies means nothing if you apply them all at once and burn out before your kidneys ever get a chance to recover. I see this happen constantly. People leave a video motivated, try to change everything on Monday morning, and by Friday they're overwhelmed, frustrated, and back to old habits. Not because they don't care, but because the brain can only handle so much change at one time. The smarter approach is sequencing. When doctors see real improvement, it's rarely because patients did everything perfectly. It's because they did the right things in the right order. Start with sodium reduction and lowering dietary acid load in week 1. These two changes work together naturally. Blood pressure often begins improving within about 2 weeks, fluid retention drops, and many people feel lighter and less bloated even before lab numbers change. In week 2, once your diet is stabilized, introduce strategic protein control. This reduces creatinine production at the source and gives stressed nephrons a break. Week 3 is where probiotics work best because a cleaner diet creates a healthier gut environment for beneficial bacteria to actually survive. And in week 4, CoQ10 adds deeper cellular protection, reinforcing everything you've already put in place. This staged rollout isn't about being slow, it's about being sustainable. Studies consistently show that gradual structured changes are far more effective long-term than aggressive overhauls that people abandon within weeks. But here's where hidden dangers quietly sabotage progress. Processed meats often contain phosphate additives that accelerate kidney damage even when protein intake looks reasonable. Over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen and naproxen reduce blood flow to the kidneys and can trigger sudden creatinine spikes. High-potassium foods like bananas, oranges, tomatoes, and potatoes become dangerous when GFR drops below 30. And megadosing vitamin C above 500 milligrams daily can increase oxalate buildup and kidney stone risk. One of the biggest mistakes of all is ignoring uncontrolled diabetes or high blood pressure. No supplement, no diet adjustment, and no protocol can outpace damage caused by poorly managed blood sugar or hypertension. This is why consistency matters more than perfection. Missing a day doesn't undo progress. Quitting for a week does. Simple tracking sodium intake, protein, portion supplements keeps people engaged long enough to see real change. And here's the moment most people don't expect. The final factor that determines whether kidney decline slows or accelerates isn't another food or supplement. It's whether you eliminate one silent habit that can undo everything you've just learned. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next, because it may decide whether dialysis becomes avoidable or inevitable. If you've stayed with me this far, I want you to know something important that already tells me you care deeply about your health, and that matters more than you may realize. Kidney disease can feel overwhelming because it progresses quietly, without pain, without clear warnings. But the truth is, awareness is power. And today you've taken a step that many people never take until it's too late. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to be perfect. What truly protects your kidneys is consistency, small, informed choices made day after day. Reducing hidden pressure, supporting your body instead of fighting it, and knowing which habits help and which ones quietly cause harm. Even one better decision this week can make a real difference over time. If this video helped you understand your kidneys more clearly, please save it so you can come back to it when you need a reminder or feel unsure. Kidney health isn't something you fix once, it's something you protect continuously. And having reliable information at the right moment can prevent irreversible damage. I also invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because we regularly share clear evidence-based updates on kidney health, blood pressure, creatinine, GFR, and practical ways to care for your body without fear or misinformation. No hype, no false promises, just what current medical science actually supports. Most importantly, don't lose hope. Kidneys are resilient organs when they're supported early. Many people stabilize their numbers, slow progression, and regain a sense of control once they understand what's really happening inside their body. You are not powerless here, you are not alone, and you are not out of options. Take care of your kidneys. They've been working silently for you your entire life. Now you know how to work for them, and I'll see you in the next video.